Good morning, one and all. I am so glad that all of you decided not to go fourth with a fifth on the fourth. Because you know, if you go fourth with a fifth on the fourth, you may not go fourth on the fifth. And then you wouldn't be here, and I'd be all alone, and we don't want that. This morning, I'm trying something new, and I brought my invisible band with me. Now, I know you're saying to yourselves, I don't see a band up here. That's because they're invisible. I am going to do a song called Nature Boy to open things up this morning. There was a boy, a very strange, enchanted boy. They say he wandered very far, over land and sea. A little shy and sad of eye, but very wise was he. And then one day, one magic day, he passed my way. And as we spoke of many things, fools and kings, this he said to me: the greatest thing you could ever learn is just to love and be loved in return. To be loved in return. And then one day, one magic day, he passed my way. And as we spoke of many things, fools and kings, this he said to me: the greatest thing you could ever learn is just to love and be loved in return. To be loved in return. is to love and be loved in return. Thank you.
Thank you. Park Peters is our musician today, and I think he nailed it with to love and be loved in return. That's what we're all about, so thank you, Park. I'm Lori Smith, and I'm the minister here, and I welcome all of you. I'm so happy that you're all here today. Your loving energy, it just fills this sanctuary and will make this service perfect, so thank you for being here. And we're going to do our statement of faith. Please join me. There is only one power and one presence in the universe and in my life, God the good, omnipotent.
Surely the presence of God is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and the grace. I can hear the rush of angel wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of God is in this place. Surely the presence of God is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and the grace. I can hear the brush of angel wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of God is in this place.
Good morning. As you take in a deep breath, you can feel the presence of God in this place. Everyone in here is God. As we are amid celebrating 250 years of this country, we remind ourselves to honor the inherent worth and dignity of every person, regardless of the color of their skin or their station in life. The image of God is present in humanity. We are God. We are called to recognize the divine potential in every human being. For far too long, we have viewed our divinity as something external rather than the inner psychological and spiritual reality. In unity, we believe everyone is an eternal expression of God, inherently good and possessing divine potential. Now, we may think to ourselves that the circumstances in this world and in my life, we may think about them, but everything ebbs and flows. But the spiritual truth of who we are is enduring and unchanging. I am always free. I claim this truth in quiet moments of prayer and meditation, and I carry it with me 24/7 at our best. As members of the human family, we rely and we support each other. We give. We receive. We help. We are helped. We comfort. We are comforted. There is a deep interconnection, and I am aware of the infinite goodness of all people. I express my divine nature more fully and easily as I communicate, cooperate, and contribute to the good of this planet. I am sending my prayers around the world, especially to the parts of the globe where there are climate-related tragedies and where there are conflicts and wars. I send affirmative thoughts to my brothers and sisters in Iran for peace, tranquility, and stability in the Middle East. I stand with the people of Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger as they strive for freedom, peace, and justice. I pray for the people and animals in Aspen and other areas on the western slope as they face the fires that have swept through their communities this past week. I send thoughts and prayers of comfort. I may make donations to charitable foundations if I'm so inclined. The facts happening in the eternal or external environment and in my life do not change the fact of who I am and who you are. The love and care of God is made manifest through my acts of compassion and understanding. So I give thanks to God as I am His grace, which is love in action. I know who I am. I send that blessing to the world. And so it is. Thank you, God. Amen.
This song started out as a poem written by Catherine Lee Bates in 1895 and was set to music in 1910 by Samuel A. Ward. Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountains' majesty, above the fruited plain. America, America, God shed His grace on thee and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea. Oh, beautiful for heroes prove. I forgot the words. And more than himself, their country love, and mercy more than life. America, America, may God thy gold refine until success be nobly blessed and every gain divine. Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountains' majesty, above the fruited plains. America, America, God shed His grace on thee and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea. America, America, God shed His grace on thee and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea. Thank you.
Thank you, Park. And he went to a lot of extra trouble for this invisible band, so we should thank him for that. So I hope you all had a relaxing 4th of July yesterday. Maybe got to be with family or friends or see some fireworks. But it was a very special day, our 250th anniversary for America. And I think these times, these special celebrations, just invite us to look back at how far we've come, be appreciative of all the good that we have going on right now, and just to remind us of what is possible in the future. So I was thinking about the ideals and the values that our nation is founded on. And the Declaration of Independence proclaims that we are all created equal, endowed by our Creator with certain unalienable rights, including the freedom to pursue our own, our own vision of happiness. And the founders of our country wrote about the worth and the dignity of every person, men, women from every color, every faith, every region are now included. And I'm really thankful that our founders had that forethought to include that. Very, very important principle. So we also appreciate character, qualities of character like honesty, integrity, equality, kindness, compassion, and a sense of honor and duty. People are serving their communities all over the world. I see news stories from everywhere where people are making their community just a little bit better. And we trust in the good and the decency of one another, recognizing that people wake up every day to live purposeful lives, to leave this world in a little better place. So we are the heart of America, and the values we cherish most deeply shape our character, guide our choices, and influence how we show up in the world. So as a country, there have been times that we have missed a step or missed the mark, yet at other times, America has really shown up. We've been involved in humanitarian efforts, education, economic development, healthcare, bringing stability to many regions around the world. So these American principles and traditions are values that unite us and remind us of who we can be. So our values in life are what we stand for. We live from them, and it's what defines us. Mahatma Gandhi said, "Your beliefs become your thoughts become your words become your actions, Your actions become your habits become your values, and your values become your destiny. That's how important these are for us. So last year we had a vision team that looked at all of our values as well as our vision mission for Unity on the Avenue. And so we live our unity beliefs from oneness with God, and we experience the interconnectedness of all of life. Our vision states where we are going. And our vision for Unity on the Avenue is together in oneness, we create a world transformed by love and compassion. I would say that's a big goal, but I have faith in us. I think we can do this. The mission defines our church's current purpose and activities. It answers the question, what are we doing right now to achieve our vision? And our mission here at Unity on the Avenue is we are an inviting spiritual community, welcoming everyone, which I hope you all felt that this morning. We offer dynamic educational and experiential opportunities for spiritual growth. And we practice our spiritual principles by connecting and serving the community. The core values are the ethical principles that guide our behavior and our decision making. So the values that are most important for Unity on the Avenue are inspiration, prayerful contemplation, collaboration, connection, integrity, joy, and spiritual support. The values guide how we interact with each other and act as a moral compass for our operational decisions, the things that we decide on, how we're going to do things within our church. These values contribute to the warmth of the relationships that I hope you all feel in our sanctuary and in our fellowship hall. They also guide the decisions made by our board of trustees. At every meeting, we read the vision, mission, and our core values, just to remind us how important those are. And they help us to form and enact bylaws and policies and the stewardship of our resources. So they are reflected in the activities and the events that are planned for Unity on the Avenue. And I thought it might be helpful just to kind of go through those. You know, sometimes we think about a value, but we don't really think about how do we see that in our community or how are we practicing it. So I wanted to go through those a little bit. So this first picture is a picture of our labyrinth outside. And it's on inspiration. I will tell you, this labyrinth inspired me to go into ministry. It's a pretty powerful labyrinth. I hope you give it a try sometime. It's awesome. But inspiration comes from a Latin word which means to breathe into. It's about that sudden burst of insight or motivation to take action. Sometimes it's an aha moment when a new idea comes to mind, and it could be thought of as a divine idea that has just entered our consciousness. It's through these ideas that we come to know God. They might be thought of as a kind of bridge by which we unite ourselves with divine spirit, or as divine messengers sent from God, sometimes through other people, right, to use and inform us of divine nature and of the nature of the world. So we are studying right now a book, I'll talk more about it, but it's You Can't Sleep Through Your Awakening by Reverend Dr. Jane Simmons. And in the first chapter, she starts talking about her experiences of awakening. And I find these really interesting. You know, I have my own experiences and I hear about other people's, but they're all so unique. It's really interesting to me. But she was talking about as a young adult, she went on a vision quest to discover her life's purpose. And so she went camping in the forest and she slept in a tent and she started having these very vivid dreams. A native guide led her to a file cabinet, and they looked in these dusty files and they started to clean them out. During her vision quest, she had the realization or the aha moment that she had been clearing out experiences from her past over the last year. And after the dream, she had a vision and experienced the one life that animates everything. And she described it as kind of seeing the energy of the forest come alive to her vision. It's hard to explain, but it sounded quite beautiful. And she had this very deep sense of awe and gratitude that just swept over her. So I've heard it referred to as a spark of inspiration to be developed by the one receiving the spark. And I believe we can receive this spark in so many ways, through art or music or other people. There was a poem by Gael Turnbull, a Scottish poet and physician. And he lived 1928 to 2004. And the title of this poem is Detail is My Toil. So in chapel, verse by verse. In the kitchen, loaf by loaf. With my pen, word by word. By imitation, illumination, spark upon spark, striking spark. The patience of the bricklayer is assumed in the dream of the architect. And I think the architect can be interpreted in a couple different ways. For me, I see the architect as providing inspiration for the bricklayer who brings it forth or manifests it into the world. But my hope is for all of us to be inspired by each other, to know and experience divine spirit in a more deeply profound way, whether we choose to go on a vision quest, spend time in prayer, meditation, or study a sacred book that brings new ideas to consciousness, or perceive life from just a different perspective. So the next value that I wanted to talk about is prayerful contemplation. And this slide is actually from one of our spirit groups. And we usually start our spirit groups out with prayer, and it usually ends with prayer as well. But if you look at the meaning of contemplation, it states that it's concentration on spiritual things as a form of private devotion. In other words, an act of steadily considering something with attention and study. We reflect, study, consider ideas when we read the Bible, or we talk about it in class, or we hear about it in the Sunday talk. We may choose to pray on these ideas to discern which part of these messages really resonate with our own hearts, and how the wisdom from within guide us to use these ideas in our lives. The meaning of contemplation is also described as a state of mystical awareness of God's being. And in this respect, contemplative prayer is less about speaking to God and more about being with God, allowing your heart and mind to rest in his presence, fostering inner peace and spiritual insight and a deeper relationship with the divine. We want to pray from a consciousness that we belong to God. We live from the consciousness that we are children of God, and most completely in our prayers. So I love the quote from Thomas Merton from his book, It's Seeds of Contemplation, which was first published in 1949. Contemplation is life itself, fully awake, fully active, fully aware that it is alive. It is spiritual wonder. It's spontaneous awe at the sacredness of life, of being. It is gratitude for life, for awareness, and for being. It is a vivid realization of the fact that life and being in us proceed from an invisible, transcendent, infinitely abundant source. So contemplation is a different form of consciousness. It's not saying prayers. It's living in constant union with divine spirit and everything around you, so that whatever you do is a prayer. Opening our hearts is the essence of spiritual contemplation. We mistake it for thinking, like this endless churning of the mind. Sometimes that's what people think of when they think of contemplation. But it is actually the still point within the churn, the quiet space within, where the heart can breathe. It's not about filling the mind, but quieting it to the awareness of the presence. It's when one's mind is connected in loving union with the moment. I've looked up this one thing about Richard Rohr talking about contemplation, and he said it's a hard thing to maintain a contemplative mind 24 hours a day. We keep getting pulled into all these world agendas, right, or things that are happening in our life. He says it takes practice, and he's been practicing all of his life, and he's not there yet. So we shouldn't beat ourselves up if we slip here and there, right? He's pretty much all about that. So the next one that I wanted to talk about, the next value, is collaboration. So this particular slide was a spirit group. We bought and wrapped Christmas gifts for a family, a very large family. The dad was the head of the family, and money was a little tight. He had quite a few kids, and one with autism. So we bought special gifts and wrapped them all up. And actually, we had so much fun doing it and hearing about how the kids had so much fun on Christmas morning, and the dad really appreciated it. It was a wonderful, just a wonderful event where we all collaborated to do this for this family. And collaboration is not only important in the physical world, but has immense significance in the spiritual community as well. So this concept goes beyond joint actions and delves deeper into aspects like mutual understanding, support, and giving. Collaboration in any form carries deep spiritual significance. In essence, it embodies unity, mutual assistance, compassion, and the power that lies within this joint effort. I see it as our unity community being co-creators with the divine to create and sustain our spiritual communities. Spiritually, collaboration embodies the idea that humans are not isolated, but part of a larger whole. It mirrors the body of Christ metaphor, where each member has a unique role, but all are essential to the whole's health and mission. This reflects the biblical vision of diverse roles working together in harmony, as Paul describes in 1 Corinthians when he says, many members, yet one body. Spiritual collaboration manifests at Unity on the Avenue in so many ways. Our board of trustees work together to ensure that this physical environment, our building, our property is in good condition and gives us the ability to promote our mission so we can focus on that. And many of our members serve on teams and care for the sanctuary and the property. One of the events we recently worked on was our yard sale, and together we planned and organized it, held a successful event, all the while having fun together. And I think that's such an important aspect. We want to be here to have fun and enjoy each other, and we did that as well as making a little money for our community. So together, our chaplains hold spiritual consciousness for our community with loving prayers for prayer requests. They go on almost every day. We get some kind of a prayer request and everybody prays on it. They also provide prayers for service and newsletters. They plan sacred events like World Labyrinth Day and Unity World Day of Prayer, which is coming up in September. So I hope you'll come and participate in that. We've had really beautiful ceremonies, events, kinds of situations. So collaboration plays a big part in our spirit groups with various hosts who prepare and offer support and ideas for spiritual growth, as well as planning events to socialize. We do that every time we have a spirit group. We do something fun together, and then we reach out into the greater community with service projects. This particular one that we're working right now, Marguerite Ralston is working with the laws. It's the second section, and we're going to be going out to senior support services. So, and during our announcements, I'll give you some ideas if you want to join in and contribute to that. These events extend beyond literal meanings to imply more profound spiritual values, such as unity, consciousness, collective growth, meaning as a group we can achieve more together than we would individually, and humanitarianism or compassion, transcending individuality. So collaboration is not a luxury, really. It's a lifeline. It's a divine gift. It brings companionship and perspective, accountability and joy, and it reminds us that we are not alone. So the next value I want to talk about is connection. So we do have spirit group socials. Sometimes we go out in nature, we go on picnics. We've done a few things, like we went to NCAR to learn more about how that works and helps our communities and our world with the research that was there. We've gone to churches around us to participate in things that are about climate control, more information, and we just recently started participating with the greater Park Hill communities. And even outside of Unity on the Avenue, we've done several things that I feel like our connection together and then our connection to the greater community is a wonderful service to the world, and it's always so much fun and feels so good to be able to help someone else. Connection in deep, rich, holy relationships is so important in our own overall health and well-being. They impact happiness and life and our physical well-being. Recently, there was some research on loneliness, and they were talking about it being an epidemic. And then there was some other research that said, but churches are in a very good place, have a very good opportunity to bring people together and to help battle that loneliness epidemic. And it encourages connections not only with divine spirit, but with our fellow human beings. So the quality of our outer connections is impacted by how we feel about ourselves. And as we prepare ourselves to be in a holy relationship with another, first we need to feel whole and complete. We understand that there is one presence and one power in the universe, and it is equally present in every single person and in every situation. So divine spirit is a force. It's an energy, a presence that moves through us to the extent that we are open to allow it to move through us. We are the hands, the eyes, the arms, the feet, and the heart of God. When we understand that, we begin to feel a sense of faith and confidence, and that allows us to show up in relationships in wholeness, completeness, and willingness to connect with others. This realization impacts how we talk to each other, how we listen to each other's stories, how we understand one another, and support each other. When we are authentic, genuine, and share who we are with others, we cultivate these connections. And this happens when we share who we are and not someone who we think we might need to be in order to fit in to whatever situation we are in. So that sometimes people do that to feel so people will like them, so people will approve of them. So this is a story about a young boy. He was of Eastern Indian culture, and he'd moved to America, and on his first day of school, the cafeteria was serving tacos. He loved tacos, so he was having this conversation with a boy that had introduced himself earlier in the day about how much he liked him, and then he bit into them, and it was beef, and his family did not eat beef. And so he had kind of a moment where, do I spit this out because it's not my belief system? They were vegetarians and didn't believe in eating beef. Or do I swallow it? And he decided to swallow it. And he felt really bad about that when he went home. And he decided he was never going to do that again. So we started bringing his own food, his Indian food, to school, and found out that a lot of other students around him wanted to try it, and then they started wanting to know more about him and who he was. So we will only have holy, meaningful, and real relationships and connections built on who we truly are if we do these things, if we're genuine, authentic, and be who we are. And people love that. That's what makes those connections, right? So Unity on the Avenue is a place where one can feel accepted and safe and loved just for who you are. So I wanted to talk about integrity. And we have a picture of Milton. And Milton embodies integrity, as so many of our congregation do. But when he says he'll be there to help, or he's going to show up to do something, he is there. He's authentic, he's trustworthy, he's kind, and he definitely embodies integrity. Integrity is to promote community well-being through respectful, authentic, and spiritually aligned communication and stewardship. It includes honesty, consistency, reliability, and strong moral principles. It means being true to ourselves, to the person God created us to be. And sometimes it can be very difficult, right? I don't know if you've ever had those situations where you know what your principle is, you know what your belief is, much like the boy from India, but still we can follow through. So there is a story in the Bible about Joseph, who was a man of great integrity. Joseph was actually Jacob's favorite child because his mother Rachel was his favorite wife. They had many of those. So his father gave him a coat of beautiful colors, so you might remember that. Joseph had dreams, and one of his dreams, his brothers were coming to him and bowing down to him. And they were jealous of Joseph because he was the favorite, he gets this coat, and he was treated differently. So they took him into the wilderness and dropped him into a dry pit. And it came about that he was pulled up and sold to the Egyptians. So the brothers took his coat back to their father and told Jacob that Joseph had died. Meanwhile, Joseph went to work for a wealthy man. His wife made a pass at Joseph, and Joseph, having integrity, did not do anything, did not follow up on that pass. But then she feels, I guess, offended by that, and she makes up the story to tell the man that Joseph works for, who has a lot of wealth and a lot of power in his position. So what happens is Joseph goes to jail. He interprets the Pharaoh's dream later that Egypt has 7 years abundance and 7 years of famine. And the Pharaoh took everything in the abundant years and saved him for those years of famine. So he was very appreciative of Joseph, and he made him in a position that was over all of Egypt. So Joseph's brothers were going through the famine, and they went to Egypt to purchase grain. And the brothers bowed before the governor of Egypt, who happened to be Joseph. They didn't realize it was Joseph. Joseph immediately recognized his brothers. So some might be thinking, so now is my chance, my chance to get revenge or get back on these brothers who had sold me off and told my father I was dead. He could have chosen that, but he doesn't. He doesn't do that. He gives them all that they need. He tells them who he is. He makes peace with his brothers who had mistreated him, and he tells them not to be distressed for what they did to him. And this is one of the part of the story that really amazes me, because in the big picture he says he feels that God had sent him to preserve life, to help with the dream, to help with this famine, to be able to have food for all the people. And Joseph gives all his brothers food and everything else that they might need. So having that kind of integrity, to me, is amazing. A very, very difficult situation, and he stuck to his principles. So to have integrity, we need to follow our principles even when it's not easy. Even when people aren't looking, you need to follow those principles. So the next one I wanted to tell you about is joy. And we have a great picture here of Mark and Penny dancing. You will find Penny dancing in many of our pictures. She keeps the joy just rolling out, right, Penny? It's great. But the word joy appears in the Bible over 150 times. And rejoice, which means to the expression of joy, also appears 150 times. So the verses in the Bible tell us to express joy, share our joy, and God is our joy. There's Psalm 118, I love this. In one of the churches we used to go to, they would say it every Sunday, but this is the day the Lord has made. We will rejoice and be glad in it. And I feel that way when I come here, actually. See your shining faces. So joy comes from a deeper, more profound place of connection with the divine. in all of its expressions. We find true joy when we go deep within us. It's an inside job. Often we look outside ourselves, but true, long-lasting joy is something we create and cultivate from within. Most important for lasting joy is to be compassionate, kind, generous with other people. If we can step away from our own problems and show kindness and joy and love to someone else, it lifts us up too. We can be generous with our time and with showing appreciation to others. Can we see the good in our lives and be thankful for the blessings that we do have? Just to kind of think about that. Take a moment. What are the things that you are grateful for? What things bring you joy? What people are you grateful for in your own life? For the little things and the big things. I appreciate our spiritual community. And every time I am around this community, I hear such kind comments, encouraging words, and laughter. I see the generosity of our community in the time and the talents that they share, and it really brings me so much joy. This feeling of joy seems to ripple out to all who enter this church, attend a social event, or participate in a community service. Don't you think joy is kind of contagious? You're happy and you're joyful, and then you notice the people around you are also kind of expressing that. So we are all part of the whole. When we help one part of the whole, we help everyone. And when we help someone in our unity community, we lift everyone up. May we consciously begin our day in joy, see joy, respond with joy, and be joy every day. The last value that I wanted to talk about is spiritual support. This one happens to be one of our spirit group classes. We, like I said, usually have prayer, and then we either read or study or join in discussion about a book or something that we're studying. But spiritual support encompasses emotional and spiritual support, fosters hope, healing, and a sense of connection. So it can help individuals navigate personal crisis or periods of uncertainty, and we provide comfort, guidance, and a safe space to express their feelings and their beliefs. It usually includes prayer, fellowship, often something to eat, hot cup of tea, small group study with lively discussion on topics of spiritual growth and mutual encouragement. Community bonds relieve stress and decrease feelings of isolation. So by combining active listening and empathy, spiritual practices, and community engagement, individuals can cultivate meaningful support that nurtures the mind, the body, and the spirit. Lastly, I was going to show this picture, and I put this in because my most sacred value is communion with Spirit. I know that that's the case for many here, but it fills my heart. It often is involved in the messages. Often I get the topics for messages in prayer, but it is everything to me. We identify our values, whether as a spiritual community or as individuals, and it's an essential step in deepening our self-awareness. Our values shape how we see ourselves in the world, help us discern what matters most to us, to bring purpose and fulfillment into our lives. As spiritual beings, we are called to intentionally define values that reflect our highest nature. Life presents us with countless choices and decisions each day, and when we are grounded in our values, these choices become clear, providing a steady compass that guides our thoughts and our words and our actions. Among the most life-giving spiritual values is nurturing a personal and intimate relationship with Divine Spirit. It is this sacred connection that continually invites us inward to the still, holy place where wisdom, peace, and guidance reside. My hope is that each of us answers that invitation regularly, making time to enter into that communion with the source of all creation. So as we faithfully live our values, we are transformed from the inside out. And that transformation doesn't end with us. It's like ripples spreading across the surface of a lake. Our lives become a blessing to others, touching our families, strengthening our communities, and helping to create a more compassionate, loving, and awakened world. So I want to close with a prayer by our co-founder, Myrtle Fillmore, that described her relationship with Divine Spirit. The title of her prayer is My Love to Thee. The hours I've spent with Thee, dear Lord, are pearls of priceless worth to me. My soul, my being merge in sweet accord, in love for Thee, in love for Thee. Each hour a pearl, each pearl a prayer, binding Thy presence close to me. I only know that Thou art there, and I am lost in Thee. O glorious joys that thrill and bless, O visions sweet of love divine, my soul is rapturous bliss, can ill express that Thou art mine, O Lord, that Thou art mine. Which I think is such a lovely, deep devotional prayer. I wanted to share that with you. So I'd like you just to take these words into a time of meditation. Just relax in your chair. Allow it to support you in a comfortable position. You can rest your eyes if you like, if that's comfortable. Breathe in a few deep breaths. And with each exhalation, release any tension, concerns, or negative thoughts. Breathe gently and easily, just noticing the rhythm of your chest. We quiet our minds and become still. Allow this feeling of peace and comfort to relax every muscle in your body. Turning within to that sacred space where we are centered in spirit. We move our thoughts into holy, sacred place, feeling the power and the presence of Divine Spirit that dwells everywhere, within everything, and expresses through you. Think about an incident in your life when you felt kindness, love from someone, such sacred service that you knew that this person was not just offering you love, but was offering you the hands, the feet, the eyes, and the voice of God. The Christ is within us and within everyone. We have all had times in our lives when we felt we were in the presence of someone who was truly living the principles that we believe in, who was truly living the value of compassion, service, kindness, through affirmative prayer and consciousness of the one that is the one. Hold to that vision. Feel the positive energy flow through you as we listen for the still small voice in the silence. I am love. I am joy. Gently come back to this space. Hear the sounds in the room. Gently moving your hands and your feet. You can open your eyes when you are ready. We give thanks not just for the God of our being, but for this community that they too are on this path of a higher way to serve. a deeper way to express kindness, and a deeper knowing that we are all God manifested in this world, here to do God's work, for that we are truly, truly grateful. We say thank you, sweet Spirit, and so it is. Amen. So now is the time for our offertory. Any donations that you give to Unity on the Avenue are always greatly appreciated, whether you pay with a check or cash, the square in the back, or on our newsletter. You can also donate. And if you're not receiving a newsletter and you would like to, please let us know, because we usually kind of give you a heads up as to what's happening in service. So I'd like to go for our offertory blessing. Please join me. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive.
What a day this has been. What a rare mood I'm in. Well, it's almost like being in love. There's a smile on my face for the whole human race. Well, it's almost like being in love. Well, the music of life seems to be like a bell that is ringing for me. And the way that I feel when that bell starts to peal, I would swear that I was falling. I would swear that I was falling. Yes, it's almost like being in love. Well, the music of life seems to be like a bell that is ringing for me. And the way that I feel when that bell starts to peal, don't you know I was falling? I'd swear I was falling. It's almost like being in love. Thank you.
Thank you. So I hope you'll join me in our prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. I am that light. The love of God enfolds us. I am that love. The power of God protects us. I am that power. The presence of God watches over us. I am that presence. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.